And now it's time for everyone's favorite talk show host, Randy.
Oh, and I'm all tingled with delight over today's show. Our special guests include 3 sailors, 1 creator, and a delinquent spiritual perpetrator. The theme is running from God on today's Randy Show. Let's meet our first guest. You may know him from the creation of the universe, then the flood, and the destruction of the universe, and now the recreation of the universe, with a new promise of faithfulness for the chosen people. Please welcome God, the maker of heaven and earth. Can we call you God for short?
Yes, Randy, you may. And may I add, I'm a really big fan.
Thank you. Our next guest is a long-distance runner from Joppa. He is a big fan of seafood and was voted by his high school class most likely to hear God's call and run away, only to be swallowed by a fish and spit up on the shore and still be unappreciative. Huh, catchy. Please welcome Joni.
I'm glad I could be here to tell my side of the story.
Great. And our last guests are surprise acquaintances of Joni's, who he met on a boat heading for nowhere. Please welcome 3 smelly sailors. Hi, Randy. Thanks, Randy. It's a pleasure, Randy. Why don't we get started with you? You have a history of calling individuals to do your work who, how can I put this gently, who...
Need a little extra care?
Exactly the way I'd say it, but okay. Let's go back to Noah and Moses. Not exactly the cream of the crop. What made you think Joni was different?
Absolutely nothing. This call was as much for Joni as for the people of Nineveh. Oh, give me a break.
Let God finish. I mean, do you really want to interrupt God?
Good point. Anyway, Joni has many gifts, and I wanted to use them for the good of my people.
What a benevolent God.
Yeah, right. What was that? I said, you're right. That's what I thought.
Well, let's hear your side of the story, Joni.
Gladly. I got a call from God just before I was headed off on a nice vacation to Tarshish to go to Nineveh. Next thing I knew, I find myself in the belly of the largest goldfish you could imagine.
You left out a little. Actually, more than a little. Yeah, like all of it. Are you holding out, fish boy?
Well,
We'll take it from here, Randy. We are just about to set sail from Joppa to Tarshish, when this very nervous character begs for a lift. He didn't care where he was going as long as it wasn't Nineveh. Next thing we realize, this guy is bragging about how he's running from a very special mission from God. But we realized something was goofy when it happened. Yet, you know, the storm? Oh, the storm. But why are you whispering? You would whisper, too, if the same God who caused this storm was sitting 3 seats away. God, what gives with the storm?
well, it was kind of a second notice of call for Joni. Just in case there was something about go to Nineveh that he didn't understand. So, you created a storm that caused my sailor friends to throw me overboard into the raging sea? Well, I did provide for you, didn't I? A fish? And not only a fish, but the belly of a fish?
I thought you smelled funny.
That fish of which you speak saved your life. I was stranded for 3 days, and all I could think of was 100 gallons of tartar sauce and a fork.
Papa, I won't eat for a week. Anyway,
It's not like I abandoned you. I heard your cries, and the fish spit you up on the shore. But how humiliating. You know, Randy, there's shame in all of this. It's not the shame of my friends or being put in a fish that really bugs me. I think it's the way God treated the people of Nineveh.
oh, tell me more. Was there great weeping and gnashing of teeth?
Well, no, just the opposite. God instructed me to go to Nineveh and tell them about their certain destruction, and so I did. But was there destruction? No.
So, what's your point?
Well, I knew this all along. God would threaten his people with doom, and when they cry out for mercy, he gives it to them. Why would I go on a journey like that? Does that scenario sound familiar? I could have let you be a whale snack, but I didn't. That's why I said this call was as much for you as it was for those Ninevites. I guess. I didn't look at it that way. So now when I call, will you not screen me through caller ID? I suppose.
Wow, a huge moment. I think we just had a real breakthrough. Great show, everyone, and remember, Joni's memoirs are now available from your favorite bookseller. Good night!
Joni's, or should I say Jonah's story, is a good reminder that God has given all of us gifts. Do you know what yours are? And of course, it's not enough to know what your gifts are. Jonah knew that he could preach God's word. It's just that he didn't want to do so to the people of Nineveh God had called him to reach. So what about you? In preparation for the next catechism event, start thinking about these questions. What will you do with the gifts God gives you? Will you just float through life marking time, or will you make a real difference in the world? How will you use your God-given gifts to fulfill God's call on your life? How will you use your gifts to bless the world that God has placed you into?